Welcome to On the Chain.
But it was actually a tweet from Brad Garlinghouse. Now, this tweet from Brad Garlinghouse is very important because he's referencing the 118th Congress. Now, obviously, if you're watching the news, they have had a small issue trying to get a majority House Speaker of the House. And it could take a little bit more time. But anyhow, regardless of that fact, Brad Garlinghouse saying today is the first day of the 118th Congress. While prior efforts at regulatory clarity for crypto in the U.S. have stalled, I am cautiously optimistic that 2023 is the year we will finally see a breakthrough. And then he has this long thread as to why he believes that we're going to have a breakthrough. Now, this is going to be very interesting because we get to potentially have a breakthrough in Congress, in the House. The question is whether or not we're going to have a breakthrough in the Senate. So if we have a breakthrough in the Senate, which would have to respond to the House, then it would have to pass this legislation on for a presidential signature. So the question still is, if it gets through the House, does the Senate and then the president have an appetite for a true crypto regulation? Now, I'm also a bit cautiously optimistic, as Brad Garlinghouse is referencing. Now, let's get into why he believes that. And we are going to pinpoint, a few of the key points here. So number one, support from regulation is bipartisan. Leaders like Patrick McHenry, Congressman, who's Glenn Thompson, Tom Emmer, as we know. If you guys haven't seen Tom Emmer yet, go to onthechain.io, do a quick search for Tom Emmer. You can also do Warren Davidson. Check that out. Those are previous interviews that we did with both Tom Emmer and Congressman Davidson. You definitely will appreciate both those interviews. Again, go to onthechain.io and check that out. We got Richie Torres. We have Kana, Stabenow, Boozman, Gillibrand, Lummis, and Booker. He said, have publicly supported blockchain and recognized the need for clarity. Now, obviously, getting some clarity in this regulatory sphere is going to be very important for the further development and the leadership role that the United States is going to take, or at least maintain, in crypto. Now, all the chaos that's going on with the SEC v. Ripple, and I don't know if I put the tweet in here, but it was a very, very clear tweet. Don't remember who said it right now, but the point was that even if the SEC, let's say they somehow end up winning the case in such a way that XRP is still deemed a security, or XRP is deemed a security, the outcome would then only impact the U.S. because the rest of the world has already moved on with their life and has started establishing some clear path to normalcy within crypto, as they have done also with XRP. So Brad Garlinghouse said, we're not working with a blank slate. Prior bills have tried to address everything from stable coins and central exchanges, clear definitions of what constitutes a digital asset, the Securities Clarity Act, Safe Harbor, clarity for digital tokens, and more. No bill is perfect, and there likely never will be one that satisfies everyone, but perfect shouldn't be the enemy of progress. These proposals provide more than a starting point for a debate in this new Congress. The stakes couldn't be higher, and that is 100%. The stakes definitely couldn't be higher. And Brad Garlinghouse has also referenced and pointed out the significance of the SEC v. Ripple case, putting Ripple at the forefront, really on the very front line of the battle that's being waged against the entire crypto industry. So when you're on the front line and you're fighting on behalf of all crypto, it becomes very, very critical. Obviously, the outcome of what's happening, but it's really propelled Brad Garlinghouse to being a central figure in this battle that's being waged against the crypto industry. So he goes on here: Singapore, the EU, Brazil, and Japan all have crypto frameworks. The U.S. doesn't. Obviously, there's some issue, and now we see more foot dragging, and we wonder why there's issue within Congress trying to get to some sort of regulatory normalcy. The UK is also well ahead of the U.S., but the lack of coordinated standards globally or in the US continues to push business to countries with low regulatory bars, with sometimes catastrophic results like FTX. Now, obviously, FTX, that whole catastrophe was more than just, oh, they were over in the Bahamas. There was obviously a lot more at play with FTX, and we're going to start seeing a lot of that unfurl itself as it progresses. Brad Garlinghouse goes on, changing the status quo is never easy, but I believe that the will to act exists. Now, I believe that also. So obviously we've been at a point now, status quo, not just status quo, but even though the bills, and you had the Token Taxonomy Act, so Warren Davidson was behind and the primary sponsor of the Token Taxonomy Act, along with Darren Soto. Now they pushed that to the Financial Services Committee. So now what's going to be interesting as we move forward in this 118th Congress, as Brad Garlinghouse is excited about it, but it's very, very significant as the red team has now, basically taken the majority in the House. Now, many within the red party are very in favor of pushing forward regulatory normalcy. Obviously, Garlinghouse mentioned some on both sides because it is bipartisan. It just happens that it's heavier weighted on the side of the red team versus the blue team in terms of those that are supporting the decentralized framework of the crypto industry and the crypto financial asset. Now, so that's very significant. So the status quo is where we're at right now, which is where we see people like Elizabeth Warren and others that are continuously, and Brad Sherman, the Shermanator out in California, that are continuously battering the crypto and the crypto industry at large. And so here, obviously, that's the status quo. That is where we've been, the attack, the continuous attack. The SEC also very, there should be a spotlight on the fact that the SEC has taken such an aggressive approach with against cryptocurrency. So there is a will to act. The will has been shown. And obviously, again, they've presented the Token Taxonomy Act multiple times. There have been other bills that have come in front of Congress, that have come in front of the Financial Services Committee, and they just fall silent. They don't get voted on. They don't get discussion. It just dies on arrival in the Financial Services Committee. So at this point, there's an opportunity to change that. There's an opportunity for it to actually move forward, which is critical. Here again, he goes on, we have a chance to get this right for millions of Americans who already are and will continue to be interested in crypto. Now, hopefully they do. Now, here we go. The 118th Congress has a historic opportunity before it to ensure the U.S. remains an innovation leader for decades to come. We hope it's one that they will take. And this is so significant right now. Again, you have a majority in the House that should have an appetite for providing regulatory clarity, that should have an appetite for making sure that the U.S. maintain itself as a leader within innovation. Obviously, cryptocurrency and the crypto markets are global, so it's not just in the U.S., but we see the impact of what's happening directly here in the United States, and it's been a very negative impact on crypto at large, thanks to a Congress and both the House and the Senate that have been very antagonistic to crypto. And again, the SEC has been their lead enforcer with Gary Gensler, our buddy Gary Gensler. Now we all know Gary Gensler on that approach. So, all right, so that was Garlinghouse.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.